My journey begins at a military research facility. There were rumors that scientists were working on a nuclear rocket orbiting Earth. My job was to head in and stop the rocket from launching. As I approached the gates, there was no answer. There was something going on here. I stepped out of my car, approached the gates, and peered through the gap. There wasn't a single human in sight. I activated the gate myself and drove in. It was eerily quiet. I approached the base. I scanned the area for life, an astronaut, a scientist, anybody I could speak to, but there was no one. All I noticed in the distance was a space escape shuttle. Before I could investigate further, I was ambushed by a bunch of infected astronauts and scientists. Oh no, where do I go? Where do I go? I have no choice but to run into the base. If I get infected now, it'll all be over. Upon entering, I was attacked by one of the scientist droids. It seems I was surrounded by hostility, so I headed deeper into the base. It would be impossible to seek refuge though, as this place was filled with infected. I tried giving the old left-right goodnight to these guys, but it just wasn't enough to take them down, so I sprinted deeper into the base. The infected chased me down the halls, but I noticed in the distance was the bunker for where the astronauts sleep. Come on, there has to be something I can use. Let's head in here and start looking in the chests. I opened up a barrel and found some food inside. Finally, I can regain my strength. Undead astronauts and scientists littered the halls. Things went bad to worse. One of the infected stumbled across the control panel and activated the countdown for the rocket. Once that rocket is launched, Earth is no more. That means I have no choice but to escape this planet. I remember that there was an escape pod up top. If I'm to head into space, I'm going to need to get myself some gear first. Oh, brother, the undead are everywhere. Let's start looting. Of course, I need a spacesuit. I started looting the chests and hunt for a spacesuit. When out of nowhere, one of the zombies managed to get inside. Oh, let's hope all those years of boxing training paid off. Bang, bang, bang. I kept stunning the zombie when finally, with a couple more hits, I took him down. Oh, I thought these were meant to keep the doctors away. There was absolutely no loot in any of these chests. I kept searching and searching in hopes to find something. Let's try the main bunk area. Surely there has to be some sort of a spacesuit in here. This is where the astronauts sleep. I grabbed a bed, but that was all this room had to offer, so I headed out. Let's continue looting. I opened up one of the chests to find space boots. Okay, one piece in the puzzle. Oh yes, the chest piece. Now all we need is the helmet and the leggings. Okay, let's try this chest. Oh my goodness. A laser musket and some ammo. Perfect. Okay, finally we have something to defend ourselves. I began roaming the facility's halls, taking down the zombies with my new laser musket. As long as I kept my distance, it was pretty easy to take them down. I stumbled across another storage room. All right, let's keep looting. I pretty much looted every single chest in this room until finally I found space pants and a space helmet. Now, thanks to this suit, when I'm in space, I can breathe. Well, I hope so. I navigated the maze-like corridors to try and find my way back up top. Once that nuke drops, planet Earth is no more. So I need to get inside that space shuttle and get out of here. I was fighting all variants of infected. One zombie even burst into a pool of acid.
Oh, that's nasty.
All right, let's get out of here. Let's jump in the space shuttle, boot it up. Okay, here we go. I pushed the thrusters to full power and started flying up. I was terrified leaving home. I burst into the Earth's atmosphere. Any moment now, I'll be in space. Wow, that is mesmerizing. I can't believe it. I'm in space. I booted up the spaceship's computer system. Greetings. I'm your interstellar navigation and deep space exploration device. Your AI assistant to help with navigation, communication, and exploring space. Hey, let's head a little deeper into the solar system. I need to scan those planets. I put her up to quarter impulse power and headed a little closer to those planets. Hopefully Indy could scan them and find out which one we can land on first. The computer scanned the stars and found the moon was our best bet. It was close, there were resources, and it was pretty habitable. I just have to look out for the infected. Looks like there's zombies in space too. All right, let's get to work. I'm going to spend 100 days in an outer space apocalypse. In this video, I'll be flying through space and discovering new planets. I'll also need to build a space station and craft an arsenal of weapons to take on the infected astronauts, creatures, and more. Is it possible to survive in outer space during an apocalypse? Let's find out. As I approached the moon, I took a look behind me. The size of the Earth was colossal. It was absolutely beautiful. I then headed into the moon's atmospheres, put my thrusters on, and began a graceful landing on what is probably going to be my new home. All right, let's land this bad boy down. Let's hop out. Whoa. Gravity works completely different here. I can jump so high. This is crazy. I wonder what Earth looks like now after that nuclear rocket was launched. I could ponder no longer. I had bigger things to worry about. I was ambushed by a group of infected astronauts. Thanks to no gravity, though, I could hop, skip, and jump through the air, taking these guys out with my laser musket. Take this, you evil creatures. Oh my goodness, this is going to be a long 100 days. There's so many of you. Their bodies and belongings floated through the air. I took a look in the distance and noticed some sort of structure. It looks like some sort of alien. So I decided to hop over. Let's hope this guy's friendly. Otherwise, I'm cooked, bruh. Luckily, this dude was not hostile, and we chatted for a short while. These guys are called Lunarians. Really friendly aliens, but once infected with the zombie virus, they turn corrupted. Great. More bad guys, just what I need. The alien also informed me that the infection had spread across all the planets, not just the moon. I wonder how the infection has changed the different species on different planets. I definitely need to be more equipped if I'm going to take any of this on. The Lunarian invited me into their home. There was a bunch of these guys down here. It was pretty cool. But there was one thing that stood out to me. I saw a tree. It was a crimson tree. Finally, that means I can get some wood. I punched this tree down, made myself some planks, crafted a crafting table, and then finally crafted a wooden pickaxe. All right, great start, but we still have a lot more to do if we want to get the basics down. So I navigated through these maze-like corridors, climbed back up the ladder, and resurfaced on the moon. I shoveled myself through some terrain until finally I stumbled across some moon cobblestone. So naturally, I upgraded my wooden pickaxe to a stone one and then investigated more of the surface. I noticed this giant ravine on the moon's surface, and thanks to no gravity, I can just float down. Whee! Oh, okay, I still take damage. Noted. I noticed some ores that I had not recognized before, so I headed over and mined it up. Turns out, this thing is moon cheese. Well, at least we have a source of food now. Just when I thought zombies in space was weird enough, I'm now eating cheese on the moon. I mined up the entire vein of cheese, is that a sentence? And then deep within the moon's caves, I noticed some iron. There are only a few ores available on the moon, and thankfully iron is one of them. I continued to explore the cave, grabbing as much cheese and iron as I could. But of course I ran into a bunch more infected astronauts, so I had to do some work to clear them up. Come on guys, there's so much iron in here. You're wasting my time. I gotta keep an eye on my ammo as well. Once I run out of that, I'm in a really bad position. After taking out the zombie astronauts, I was ambushed by corrupted Lunarians. These guys have a ranged attack, so they can deal pretty decent damage from far away. I would 360 no-scope, but there's no gravity, and it would be like the slowest turn ever. Alright, it looks like the coast is clear. Or so I thought. There were a bunch of corrupted Lunarians in this cave, so it looks like I'll be fighting these all day. In my attempt to avoid the Lunarians, I bumped into this weird starfish thing that started attacking me, and it took half of my hearts out in one go. Let's stay clear of those. I munched on some cheese, then I found this ore called Desh. It seems to be some sort of resource I can use to make ingots and blocks, so I grabbed a bunch of it. I navigated the caves, taking out the Lunarians and grabbing myself some stone so I could finally craft myself a furnace. Of course, I can't use crimson wood as a source of fuel, so I'll have to turn that into sticks and then burn those. I burned just enough sticks to make 3 iron ingots so I could make an iron pickaxe and start grabbing some more moonstone. I dedicated a lot of time to grabbing moonstone because when I resurface, I want to start working on my very own space station. Before I started building though, I headed back to the Lunarian base, down into the vaults, and grabbed a little more wood as I'm going to need it. I also did a little bit of exploring and stumbled across this stone cutter. Sorry bro, I need it more than you. I then headed back up top to find a good location where I could start building. Of course, I was having to contend with infected astronauts, but they're not so bad as long as you keep checking behind you, like every 5 seconds. I found some relatively flat terrain I could use, started patching in the hole so I don't fall to my death, and then got to work building the outline of my small space base. The idea is that I create small domes which I can live in and they all connect to each other. After grabbing some sleep, I set up a small work area, munched on some cheese, and got to work. I went ahead and placed some walls, then I made a doorway, and then I decided to extend the sides by 1 block. Then it was time to move everything from the outside inside, and then I noticed I was missing a chest, so I made 2 chests, placed them by the bed, and started smelting up some more iron. It was a solid start, but we still had a little more work to do. I started working on the small tunnel area, which would eventually connect another dome. The one missing ingredient to all of this was, of course, glass, so I made myself a shovel and started shoveling up tons and tons of moon sand. As my pockets got sandy, I quickly realized that I can't keep using sticks as my source of fuel, and there's no coal on the moon. I had an idea. I went ahead and grabbed my spaceship and moved it back to my base. Of course, I had to clear out the area of corrupted Lunarians, and once they were taken care of, I asked Indy to scan the stars for a planet that contained resources for smelting. My scanners have detected that Venus is the optimal planet for smelting resources. But my scanners are detecting multiple hostiles, so I suggest you get better gear first. My computer was right. I was in no shape to leave this planet just yet, so let's go out and explore the moon and get our hands on some better gear. I roamed these barren lunar wastelands. I fought the infected for days. Finally, I stumbled across a mining ship. As I approached the ship, I was attacked by a group of undead miners. I shoved my axe in the face of these colony miners, then whipped out my laser musket to finish the job. I refused to retreat. I faced these guys head on. Mama didn't raise no bitch. After I killed the last miner, I took a look at the loot and noticed some unique items, like these blades, which you can craft hunter knives with. I wonder why the miners chose this area to land. I assume there's some big veins of iron and cheese down there. But we'll look down there later. Let's go and investigate this ship. Upon entering, I was met with more infected miners. All right, let's go ahead and clear these guys out. Kaboom, kaboom. Oh, there's like 4 of you. Okay, this isn't too bad. You don't do a lot of damage, do you? Oh, okay, yeah, no, only like 1 heart. That's not too bad. Let's use my axe to finish you off. All right, cool. The coast is clear. Let's get to investigating. And I spoke too soon. There's 1 more. Sleep tight, buddy. F in the comments for that guy. I searched the rooms and the halls of this mining spaceship. I assumed there would be something mining related in here. I searched and searched until finally I stumbled across a workbench. I headed over, opened it up, and tried placing my blades inside to see if it would activate anything. I had no luck, but then I thought, what if I search the rest of this ship? There has to be something here. Then I noticed these 2 chests. Surely they're related. When I opened them up and grabbed all of the items inside, I headed back over to the workbench to see if I could use these things. My knowledge from space cadets is pretty slim, but I remember a few recipes, and one of them was a mining tool. After placing the items in the workbench, I finally managed to construct myself a mining laser. Yo, that's insane! I picked up the workbench, then headed down the corridor to test out this mining laser. This is insane. It's burning through the ores, but it also uses energy similar to my laser musket, so I gotta use this thing scarcely. Let's go ahead and grab these bookcases too, just in case I want to enchant later on. Alright, let's get out of here and keep exploring. I'm excited to travel to Venus and try out this mining laser on all of the coal. Though I should probably get some more gear first. I decided to head underground and find out why the miners landed here. Before they were infected, of course. When I entered the cave, I noticed a ton of iron and moon cheese down here. Now it's all making sense. I whipped out my mining laser and started chewing through all of this iron ore trapped within the moonstone cobble. This is insane, bro. Of course, we can't neglect the cheese. We're gonna need a lot of food if we're gonna start roaming different planets. Although it would be nice to eat something that isn't cheese. Oh, what I'd pay for a crusty roll right now. I resurfaced, avoided the enemies, and decided to keep on exploring. I navigated the rocky moon's terrain, taking out corrupted Lunarians on the way. After quite some time, I stumbled across a spaceship hovering in the air. This thing was absolutely huge. It was the biggest spaceship I'd seen in my whole life. I was desperate to get on board this thing and start looting, but of course it was pretty high up, so I had to grab myself some building blocks. I noticed an entry point right in the middle, so I cleared out the area and then I started building upwards. If you're enjoying this adventure right now, hit that like button, and if you want, maybe subscribe. I'd appreciate it. As I entered the bottom of the ship, I was met with a ton of infected astronauts. I was also getting attacked by a few corrupted Lunarians. There was a ton of mobs in here. The undead's thirst for my meat led them to their death. The last few that remained on the ship, I took out with my laser musket, and then I decided to just do a little bit of shooting for fun. Bro, the range on this thing is crazy. Suddenly, the ship caught fire, so I'm gonna have to speed up my looting. Whilst exploring the halls of the ship, the first thing I noticed was a bunch of dirt. I assumed these were where flowers were planted, but I didn't want to ask any questions. I just needed this stuff to grow saplings on. Because so far, I haven't seen a single piece of dirt, so I'm gonna take all the dirt I can. The entire spaceship was littered with corrupted Lunarians and infected astronauts, so I just worked my way through the halls, taking them down. I then started investigating the rooms. I stumbled across this huge giant room with buttons, so I just started pressing, but I'm pretty sure I opened a door somewhere because I was attacked by a bunch of these zombies. Unfortunately, shooting these astronauts caused their oxygen tanks to implode and ignite the area around them. I thought maybe it was my laser rifle, so started using my axe, but of course I was met with an explosion and fire, so I just shot these guys from a distance. After defeating these exploding astronauts, I decided to take the stairs and head up to the upper floor. I discovered this sort of kitchen area, but before I could investigate, I was attacked by more exploding astronauts. I tried to lure these guys away and then take them out away from the kitchen because I didn't want the loot to be destroyed. I started looting the chest and discovered some potatoes. It wasn't a lot, but at least I could start working on a farm when I get home. I then grabbed this cauldron and also this workbench, which I discovered I could craft some new weaponry. Perfect, this is just what I need. After I grabbed the workbench, I stumbled across a room full of cake and I couldn't help myself. With every corner I turned, I was met with mobs and hostiles. It seems I had pretty much looted this entire ship, which was perfect timing as the fire was really spreading now. I used my mining laser to grab a few more bookcases, then made my way back to an exit point. Just before I jumped ship, I noticed a little cubby hole, so decided to investigate, but honestly, it wasn't even that worth it. There was just some cobwebs and some dye in frames. At least I can change the color of my guns, I guess. It was time to get out of here, so I jumped ship. This spaceship was incredible and offered some great loot. I floated down and gracefully placed myself upon the moonstone. It was safe to say I got some pretty good loot, and I think I was feeling a little more equipped, ready to travel to different planets. So let's head home. The sun's radiant interstellar glow warmed my cheeks. I traveled day and night surrounded by the corrupted Lunarians, but finally I made it home. I placed my workbenches down and quickly realized I couldn't set up a farm just yet. There was no water on the moon, so I placed a cauldron ready for when I can get my hands on some of it. Let's hope there's a planet out there with water on it. I then used the iron I had to craft a new space gun to defend myself on Venus, and jumped in my shuttle ready to go and get my hands on some coal. I flew up and out of the moon's atmosphere. I was once again flying through space. Whilst I was flying towards Venus, I received a transmission. It seems Red Magic is trying to communicate, sir. I received a message from today's sponsor. Red Magic has sent me an early Christmas present this year, and it's their brand new gaming phone, the Red Magic 10 Pro. Fans of the channel will know how much I love these phones, and once again, Red Magic doesn't disappoint. The 10 Pro delivers a major performance boost over previous generations, featuring an exclusive 1.5K pixel BOE ammo LED display, a gigantic battery life, an ultra-narrow bezel, and most notably, it's the first smartphone with liquid cooling technology. Games have never played so smooth or looked so great on a handheld device. The Snapdragon 8 Elite chip offers a 45% performance boost. I boost everything from frame rate to graphics on this phone, and it doesn't even blink, like zero lag. The ICE-X cooling system paired with a liquid cooling system means the 10 Pro stays cool and quiet while still working efficiently. By the way, this thing is bumpless. The camera's hidden under the screen but still takes great pics. Pre-installed is the phone's own gaming lobby, meaning you can store all your games in one place and use plugins to enhance them. From AI learning to, of course, my favorite, sound equalizer, because I love to optimize these incredible speakers. I'm once again really impressed. The screen's big, bright and beautiful, the speakers are crisp and loud, the shoulder triggers make mobile gaming so much more enjoyable. I can honestly say I don't think there's a phone dedicated to gaming like Red Magic is. They're the GOATs. And I'm not just saying that because I'm sponsored. I honestly believe the Red Magic 10 Pro is the phone for gaming. So if you want to get yours, click the link in the description today. Let's get back to work. I zoomed through the stars and towards Venus. Heat radiated from the planet's surface. This planet looked and felt completely different. I began landing my spaceship on the planet's surface. The skies burned bright, hurting my eyes. Gravity was stronger here, and there were structures darted across the planet's terrain. It was absolutely beautiful, and a great change of scenery from the moon's grayish hues. Let's hope I can survive the infection on this planet. Let's get to work. I was here for coal, so I headed into the caves. I was so relieved to see so many veins of this stuff. The damage I took from falling down reminded me of the whole gravity situ. I used my mining laser to grab as much of this as possible, because, well, the moon's really far away and I don't want to have to keep going back and forth. Whilst I was grabbing resources, I was attacked by these infected creatures. Hey, yo, what are these things, bro? They took half my hearts, what the hell? These creatures were absolute tanks, and there was 2 of them. I was just firing lasers into them, but it just wasn't doing a thing. These things were fast, so I created some distance, whipped out my new space gun, and took these guys down. Whew, that was hard work. Upon these infected aliens' death, they dropped an egg, and when I approached it, it cracked open, and the creature inside started scuttling towards me. Oh! Oh, run! I'm not in the mood to be probed. In a desperate attempt to escape this thing, I jump down, taking a ton of damage. Okay, cool. There's an infected alien baby creature running around. Wunderbar. I continued to explore Venus's toasty caves. I avoided the infected creatures and got to work collecting as many resources as I could, including this cassolite, which works similar to Desh. But my biggest surprise was diamonds. There's diamonds on Venus, bruh. Hey, yo, I'm not gonna complain. I grabbed this entire vein. Once I felt I had enough coal, I made my way back up to the surface. I ended up running into an alien creature, and well, he didn't attack me. I was kind of offended. Do I not look intimidating enough or something? En route home, I stumbled across this block that looked like ancient debris, so I got disgustingly excited, only to find out it was a variation of magma. My bad. I eventually resurfaced and decided I wasn't going to leave just yet. I wanted to explore the structures that scattered across Venus's plains. As I approached the structure, I saw more of these weird Martian things, but this time they were pretty hostile, which I'll take as a compliment. I cleared the area, entered the structure, and started grabbing blocks, just like this blast furnace. I continued to take down these infected Martians, and then I started taking damage randomly. It turns out when it rains on Venus, it's acid rain. If I step out in this, I'll be a huge pile of mush. So I just stayed inside and looted all the chests, getting emerald, gold, moon sand, diamonds, and then I escalated the tower to fight a bunch of these infected Martians. Oh, okay, that's quite a lot of you. Reload. Okay, let's take you all out. I underestimate you guys. You actually do pack a little bit of a punch if I let you get the better of me. I looted this structure also, and then went ahead and used my mining laser to grab all of the crimson wood. Guys, it rained and rained and rained for days. I couldn't leave this stupid structure, and I was crying like a little baby. I'm not joking, I could not leave this area forever, bro. But then finally, the rain let up. So then I headed to the nearest structure. Oh, hello, little guy. Oh my god, look at your little fangs. What has the infection done to you? Do you do any damage? Oh my goodness, you don't. You puny creature. Eat the end of my shovel. Yeah, take that. It's safe to say the loneliness in space was getting to me. I built up and into this structure, grabbing more loot, and then I killed a bunch more of these infected Martians. I honestly saw no point in me scaling this entire tower, so I decided to head home. And during my travels home, I came across a bunch of these astronauts that mysteriously exploded after I killed them. I can't explain anything anymore. Luckily, my spaceship withstood the acid rain. I jumped inside and headed back up. I flew out of Venus's atmosphere and into deep space. I increased my thrusters to full speed and zoomed way back to the moon. I landed this bad boy down, of course had to clear out more corrupted Lunarians, then I started smelting up all my iron, made a bunch of furnaces with my Venus cobblestone, and started smelting up the moon sand. Whew, crazy few days. Let's get some sleep. Whilst I was waiting for the glass, I went ahead and smelted up those moon ores. I then crafted myself a few pistons and made a compressor. This would allow me to compress the calorite ingots into plates. This gives me access to a bunch of space-friendly blocks. But of course I've got to power this stuff up, so I made myself a coal generator, placed it down next to the compressor, and inserted some coal inside. The heat generated from the coal powers up the compressor, allowing me to finally compress these ingots into plates. I love technology. My main goal was to create an airlocked door. I felt like a chef in a kitchen. I turned all of my calorite into a block, then I finally got my hands on some glass, combined it all together to make myself a calorite sliding door. The door is made up of materials from Venus, so this thing should withstand all types of weather, all types of temperature, and most importantly, keep the mobs out. The next step was something I was dying to do since I landed on this planet. A roof! I finally have a glass dome roof on my base. This should keep mobs out while still allowing me to look at that beautiful night sky. I was really proud of the progress I was making. I also crafted a bunch of lights and placed it inside the base. You know what? Considering I landed here with nothing but a spacesuit and a shuttle, this was insane progress. It was also nice to take some time to build rather than kill undead astronauts all day. The next day I decided that walking on sand probably isn't the best move, so I cleared out my entire floor and replaced it with chiseled Venus sandstone. I knew that stone cutter would come in handy. This bright orange block really added some nice color to the base. I also put my leftover pistons to work. What can I say? I'm an artist. Also, W in the chat for these slidey doors, bro. After that, I decided to put the dirt and potatoes I found earlier to good use. I was really hoping this farm would work. I placed all of the dirt blocks down, then cleared the area that surrounded it and used those alternative magma blocks to fill it in, just because I thought it looked really nice. I had some Venus sandstone left over, so I added a nice pattern in the middle of the dome, then finished it all up with another glass roof. This was a really nice, cozy, and effective farm. Well, I don't know if it's effective just yet. So I went ahead and crafted myself a hoe with the diamonds I had and hoed it all up. Top tip, if you respect your hoe will respect you. I planted the potatoes, but of course I didn't have any water. I need water for a lot of stuff, not just growing crops. You need it for farms, and, well, your boy's getting thirsty. So let's ask my computer. They scanned the stars. Scanning. I've got something. Mars has traces of H2O, but there's something else. I am receiving a transmission from the local Lunarians. It looks like they're in distress. You should probably check it out. Well, there you have it. My computer detected Mars had water, but also the local Lunarians were in trouble. So Mars can wait. Let's find out what's going on. Upon entry, I was met with a very distressed Lunarian. They informed me that their storage room had been completely overrun with hostiles. They told me if I clear out all the mobs and bring back proof that I did it, they'll craft me a ray gun. Wait, you say ray gun? A ray gun. Okay, yeah, definitely, I'm on it. The Lunarian informed me of a secret entrance that I could enter using my mining laser. I chipped away moonstone until I was met with a staircase, which I scaled down. Once I made it to the bottom, I looked around and was already met with corrupted Lunarians. This was not as easy as I was expecting. This place was absolutely filled with enemies. We were exchanging shots left, right, and center. For every ice shard they hit me with, I returned with firepower. The only way I could clear this entire place was removing all the spawners, so it was time to lock in. All right, let's whip out the mining laser. Let's try and get this bad boy. The infected spawners didn't go easily, and I was fighting mobs at the same time. It was a complete disaster. I tried using my mining laser across the room, but it just wasn't enough. I had to stick to a closer range. Things were getting more and more intense. I was fighting extraterrestrials left, right, and center, so much that I nearly lost my life. Whoa, I only have like 4 hearts, bro. I managed to camp in the corner, clear out the enemies, and feed on some cheese. I went back in for round 2 and focused primarily on the spawners. Before I could make any more progress, I was once again backed into a corner. Oh no, only 2.5 hearts. Holy smokes, bro. Okay, upstairs. Please don't get hit, Okay, sailor to my little fry. Don't know what I'm doing. I dropped the hero act, got focused on my mission, and managed to eliminate all of the spawners. All that was left now was to remove all of the corrupted Lunarians that were oh my goodness, that's a lot of them. I showed no mercy. After clearing out the room, I decided to have a little peek in the Lunarian storage chests. Hey, look, I'm sure they won't mind. Inside the chests, I got my hands on some more emerald, diamonds, and a little more moon sand. I also obtained some ice shards. I also looted some golden apples. I also mined this ornament. This would be proof to the Lunarian that I cleared the room. But we weren't done just yet. There was another room to clear and a bunch more infected spawners around. During my hunt for the spawners, I stumbled across this really beautiful looking room. It didn't have the greatest loot, but it looked pretty cool. I destroyed a couple of infected spawners hiding behind Lunarian statues, then I discovered the second room. I learned my lesson from the last battle and managed to wipe this room out pretty quickly. The corrupted aliens were infuriated by my skill. I managed to wipe this room out pretty efficiently. Now, I know the task was complete, but I just couldn't help myself. I went through pretty much all of their chests, getting my hands on some enchanted books. I'm also totally stealing this and putting it in my base. I was over the moon. See what I did there? Crisis averted. I cleared out all of the corruption and hostility and headed back to the Lunarian. I proudly held up the globe as proof for clearing out the rooms. He was so happy and told me that the ray gun was ready. I gave him some ice shards and the globe, and in return, he gave me the ray gun. Yo, this thing looks so cool. He told me that he could combine emeralds and ice shards to make me plasma ammo. Therefore, I can take on these guys without ever worrying about running out. Yo, this thing is so satisfying to use. It's just explosive, bruh. And the range is crazy. I returned to my moon base, entering my sliding doors. I then went ahead and set up the moon globe and also placed down a little space painting I found. Look how cool it looks when I spin it. I smelted up a bunch of resources because our next step was to head into Mars and get our hands on some water to make these potatoes grow a little quicker. I hopped into my spaceship and once again headed into deep space. I locked onto Mars, fired up my engines, and zoomed through the stars. Okay, hold on tight. Here we go. I was always nervous entering a new planet. I had no idea what would await me. I comfortably landed my spaceship and hopped out. It was pretty bland, but I quickly noticed an ice biome. Okay, surely there's water in there. What the? I have no ideas what these things were, but they were infected and they were hungry, so I had no choice but to take them down. Thank you, ray gun. The deeper into Mars I got, the more I noticed these alien eggs across the surface. I of course did the right thing and tried taking all of these eggs out. But these creatures spread like wildfire. They just kept hatching and hatching, and then eventually I became infected. Okay, at this point I had no idea what would happen in the next 1 minute, so I decided not to waste any time and head into that ice biome. I was immediately attacked by this infected creeper. The ice just didn't seem to melt. I tried breaking it, I tried mining it with my laser, but nothing worked. I suddenly had the nausea effect and noticed an alien had crawled out of me. I'm not telling you where from. I tried to take out the creature, but he was just too fast and scuttled away. I quickly realized that this planet accelerates the growth of these creatures. Wow, that explains the eggs. This thing was way tougher than it was 5 seconds ago. It chased me and it was fast. Bro, this feels like a dog's round. Let's hope there's a max ammo at the end of this. After defeating this abomination, I continued my hunt for water. I, of course, was met with infected astronauts, but this time, upon destroying them, I noticed that their acid melts the ice. It must be something in their blood that binds with the components of this planet, because I quickly melted a lot of ice and got my hands on some water. Yeah, science! Things were going smoothly, but then I noticed something strange. There was way more infected astronauts on this planet than any other planet I'd visited. I satisfyingly destroyed all of these guys, as well as the weird Martian things. Whilst traveling the planet and defeating undead astronauts, I think I found the answer to why there were so many of them on Mars. I stumbled across a rover that can only mean one thing. There is a space station nearby. The rover came built in with coordinates to where the nearest colony was, so I booted up the engine and headed towards it. I'm not gonna lie, driving a Mars rover in an undead space apocalypse is probably one of the coolest things I've ever done. I honestly thought I was gonna die on day one. I excitedly wandered the plains of Mars, dodging the Martians. Then I finally came across a structure. There was something historic about this building, as if there was life here before us. I scanned the room and noticed there was a block hidden in the ceiling. Turns out it was quite an expensive block. I can use this to craft energy batteries. This was pretty much all the structure had to offer, so I headed out into the blazing heat, jumped back in my rover, and started driving. I sped into the undead astronauts. Oh, I just had this cleaned, come on. The closer I got to the coordinates, the harder the terrain. I had no choice but to jump out of the rover and travel the rest on foot. I had discovered a small space station, absolutely littered with undead. I didn't feel guilty at all killing these astronauts. These are probably the guys that were working on the research for the nuke. The horde of the infected closed in on me. I fired my ray gun into the crowd, eliminating the undead astronauts. Okay, only 2 left. Oh my goodness, I missed every shot. I couldn't believe it. The astronauts and scientists were growing life here. Maybe Mars is the place that Earth can rebuild. I was surrounded by nature. No wildlife, unfortunately, but I did notice saplings, so I picked them up, and of course I harvested all of the grass to get the seeds. Crusty rolls are just around the corner. I exited the building, eliminated a zombie, and continued to explore this Mars colony. I had to face off with a few military astronauts. These guys had extra gear on, so they were a little more difficult, but my ray gun still managed to take them out. Bro, I need food. The deeper I explored, the better loot I came across. I found a row of solar powers connected to a gravity normalizer, so I picked it up and started grabbing all of the steel cables. With the energy from the solar panels, I can power the gravity normalizer and hopefully increase gravity in my moon base. Whilst roaming, I saw these weird alien eyeball things inside of this giant dome. It seemed to be some sort of anti-gravity room that the scientists were working on. I swiftly exited and decided it was probably time I head home. I managed to get my hands on some water, but I also faced some insane dangers. I'll be pleased to be back on the moon. Sadly, I can't bring my rover with me, but it was great to be back in deep space again. But this time I stumbled into an asteroid field with zombie astronauts floating in space. I need to navigate through this debris with care. One wrong move and it's all over. Oh, Indy, you're gonna have to guide me through this. This is crazy. Stabilizing thrusters. Optimizing balance. Full thrusters ahead. Whoa, Indy, we're gonna hit this! My computer judged it perfectly and I made it through the asteroid field. Whew, that was absolutely insane. Time to finally head home. The asteroid field was certainly not my most challenging part of the day. When I placed a water bucket on the moon, the water froze completely over, so I tried placing it so it created a stream, hoed all of the dirt around it, placed my wheat seeds, and yep, the water still froze. No! I couldn't dwell on it though, I still had work to do. I wanted to boot up my gravity normalizer. I grabbed my large solar panels and placed them on the roof of my domes. But they weren't connected, so I used my steel cables to connect them all up and into the base. Electricity pulsed through these cables, and finally I booted up the gravity normalizer. I adjusted the gravity and I could immediately feel the difference. I can actually jump at a normal pace. Floating around everywhere was getting so annoying, bruh. The trip to Mars was completely worth it. My moon base really looked the part. I organized all of my chests and then I got myself a good night's sleep. The next day I grabbed my dirt and saplings and decided I would build a small room in which I could grow a tree inside. I just didn't have enough space in my base already, so I decided to build another small dome area. Of course I kept the theme using the Venus blocks and the moon sand, but I also made sure to keep the roof a little higher. Let's place these glass blocks. We do a little placing here, we do a little placing there, and boom, that should be the entire roof. One last thing, I crafted myself an enchantment table and enchanted my ray gun. This kind of reminds me of something. We had did it. We had made it to day 100. I think it's pretty safe to say that you can successfully survive 100 days in an outer space zombie apocalypse. Ready for one last flight? Oh, of course, and I have just the planet. I navigated back through the debris field and headed towards a unique planet called Glacius. I headed into the snowy biome and landed on the soft snow. I was pretty intimidated with all these eyes looking at me. Well, at least I know where these guys come from now. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed it, click that like button. If you subscribed, I love you. If you haven't, what are you doing? Subscribe. As always, my name's the Coffee Fuel Genius. Peace. By the way, guys, I just launched my brand new SKYBLOCK server. It's called CLOUDWORLD. Check it out in the description. And once again, thanks to Red Magic. Love y'all. Peace.